Hello and welcome to Essex by the Sea. I'm Owen Ward, exploring the Essex coast, finding out about the amazing and interesting stories it has to offer. More and more of you are subscribing to the podcast, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for doing so, and I hope you're enjoying the episodes. Now, the Essex coastline has had 11 Martello Towers built in the 1800s. They were identified by letters, Stone Point in the south being Tower A, and Walton on the Naze being Tower K. Just 6 of those original 11 remain, and I'm currently in Tower F, which is located pretty much in the centre of Clacton. To tell me more about this historic monument and to tell me the future of it as well, Paul Nash is back on the podcast. Paul, thanks very much.
Hi Owen, nice to see you.
And you, and great to have you back for a second episode. Tell me, how did you come to actually be the custodian and the owner of this fantastic historic monument?
Yeah, well, what it was, in 2009, Billy and Elliot Ball took over Clacton Pier, and they didn't have no knowledge of animals. I've always been into animals from years and years ago. I've always been into animals. Anyway, I was actually looking for a zoo, an area to have a children's zoo. That's what we wanted to do. But I couldn't find nowhere. Then I started helping Billy out with the Sea Life Aquarium. So I run that for 2 years, helping him out when he first took that over. And that was great. But in the meantime, I was always looking. And I drove past the Martello Tower one day and I saw a sign up there saying for sale on the gate. So I'd never been in here before, pulled up, come up here, walked across the bridge and realised there was a 16-foot walled moat all the way around. And I thought, what a perfect place, because I can have all the animals running around here. I ain't got to worry about putting them in cages or anything like that. They can roam free apart from a few little gates for certain animals. And that was it. We spoke to the guy, done a deal, and that was about 11 or 12 years ago, yeah.
Now, the tower, obviously the history goes back a long, long way. As I say, they were built originally in the 1800s. I mean, what was the original purpose of them, do you know?
Yeah, it was to stop Napoleon. They thought Napoleon was going to come here and invade. And so you can see the shape of the towers. They're not completely circle, though it is a complete circle on the inside, but they're done sort of like an egg shape, so to give it extra strength. The walls are about, I know we're going to have people saying no, they're not, but they're roughly around 14 foot thick, the bottom. Very strong. In fact, I think this tower here, and when you look around, it's got 750,000 bricks in it for this tower. So that's how they were designed. There was no stairs coming down in the towers. They used to, in fact, the room that we're in now was the animations room. So this is down the bottom, and this is where they used to keep all the cannonballs and the gunpowder. That little area there, no, it's hard to say, but it's a little square area, about 2 foot square in the wall, and it used to have glass over there and a big candle behind it, and that was their way of lighting it up and to make sure the flame never got into this room. So this was the animations room, and they used to have like 2 big doors on the first floor that they used to open, and they'd drop everything down through like a pulley system, and then they had a ladder that come down, and that was it down here. But yeah, they were built for that about 220 odd years ago now, and yeah, this is the only one I think with a fully enclosed moat. So that's what along this coast.
When you perhaps walk along the top of the prom, along the seafront, the only really part of the tower is the very top part that you can see, which currently has a white structure, which I understand was originally built for the coastguard, but it wasn't part of the original tower.
No, that's right. I think, don't quote me on it, but around about 69, them sort of times it was built, and that was to let the lifeguards have a look out and keep an eye on the coast to make sure everyone was safe along there. But it's been left for years, neglected. I think they moved out of here probably 16 years ago, something around them times, and it's just been dilapidated. So it's not very safe now. It's going to be coming down, but that's all that was. Yeah, it's not part of the original structure.
You know, if you're on a boat out at sea off the coast of Clacton, you're coming in to invade the coast. Actually, it'll be a bit of a surprise when you walked up on the beach to find this right above you, because you can't really see it from the sea. I'm guessing then, if this was the ammunitions room, it had quite hefty guns then on top originally.
That's right. I'm not sure how many. I think it was 2 or 3 guns. They had big cannons. They got the big metal straps up their bars to hold them, because when they were shooting out. And it's a shame that all of this work and the cannons and everything else was all built, and they never actually got used for the purpose they were built for, because Napoleon never invaded. But yeah, it's very unusual because when you go along the seafront here, we're just in front of the hospital on Clacton seafront, Marine Parade West. As you look up, it's just like a hill. But as you walk along and come into, because you've got to go across a bridge into this tower, it's just like, it blows people's minds because they can see the big moat. And by the way, it was always a dry moat. It was never, a lot of people think that it actually used to be full of water, but it was always a dry moat. But you go across the bridge and into the tower, and it's just like being in another world. It's just beautiful.
I agree, and I had that same sort of wow factor as I came through the gate, and suddenly that moat opens up, and you can see the brick structure there standing in the middle, and it is a hefty moat. I mean, it's deep because you come in essentially, well, effectively at ground level, but actually you then, once you're in the tower, as we've done today, you then come down a level, don't you?
That's right. Yeah, you do, because you don't notice you've got the hill up, but when you come into the town, come across the bridge, you forget you're actually up. You've already gone up to get here, and then you see that, and it's all down in a big valley, and it's it's a really, really beautiful place.
And I can see why you took a look at this when it did come up for sale and think, actually, this would be a brilliant place for a zoo. And that was very successful for a long time. I know people have remembered coming along and seeing the animals in the moat. And what was that period like for the tower and for you?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Well, what happened was, there was an original zoo here in the 70s and 80s, I think, and it had a very bad ending, so that was something. But it was really brilliant because what we had here was a lot of, we had alpacas, we had African sheep, we had pygmy goats, we had pigs, and all of these sort of animals and that. And it was really fantastic, And what happened? People would come in here, they could have their kids all looking at all the animals, and there was rabbits and guinea pigs, and believe it or not, the rabbits and guinea pigs were more popular than all of the animals. That's all the kids want to do, pick up a rabbit or pick up a guinea pig. And they was all here, but the great thing about it was the parents then could relax and they could sit on the bench and read a book because they knew the kids couldn't get out. Yeah. So when you're on the beach, you can't take your eyes off them for a second. So it was really popular. It ran for about 6 years. Really going great, and then my wife got cancer and she got ill, and she sort of really run this, she was with the animals all the time, and so that sort of put a stop on it. But we were lucky because we managed to sell the animals to one person. They took them all. But I've got to tell you a quick thing that was really interesting or funny. In the winters here, because Clacton gets a bit quiet in the winters, and so all the zoo closed, and we used to take the animals home, and they were all in the garden. And the funny thing was, we'd have, every morning we'd open up the patio doors, right, or go into the kitchen, the patio door, and they were all lined up like Noah's Ark, and we'd have alpacas, ponies, donkeys, sheep, goats, pigs, all in a line, and you'd have to open up the back doors to try and get out and feed them, and there was alpacas flying in the kitchen and everything was running around. It'd take us half an hour to get all the animals back out, you know what I mean? And then, but we had that every winter for 6 years, and it was great fun. But as you get older as well, and with her health and that had to end.
Now, though, the tower has been reinvented. It's a lovely tea rooms today. I must say the coffee is absolutely brilliant. Well worth a visit if you are in Clacton. It is a bit secluded because it's tucked around. It's high up, as I say. You can't really see it, but it is here. Come and have a visit to the tea rooms. But you've got further plans and more ambition for the tower going forward. Yes,
we have. I mean, at the moment, we call it the Tower Tea Rooms, and you can come here for afternoon teas, cream teas, sandwiches, cakes, that sort of thing. We're also doing events here, like we've got the FSB, the Federation of Small Businesses, doing networking events. We're doing ghost hunts here. We're hoping to do fright nights and escape from the tower and medieval nights, etc., and weddings. That's all the plan of going forward in the future. Great for the community as well, because anyone can come in here, they can do business and have a nice tea, and it's just beside the hospital. So we get a lot of people that are down here to go to the hospital, and they pop in for a cup of tea and that sort of thing. But yeah, we've got some big plans going forward. We'd like to have a dome on the top and make it a really nice place, great for the air show and everything else. And also, people can come and, if they need to use it for something, they can hire it. We just want to use it for the community and all that sort of thing.
Absolutely, and it is a great space to be able to do that, and good that a historic building like this can be used in such a diverse way as well. You mentioned about the thickness of the walls. I can see here how thick they are. One thing that has struck me though is I can't see a single flat, straight surface. It's all curved. How on earth do you deal with furnishing?
Yeah, it is awkward. There's no doubt about it, because it is all curves and circles and everything else built here. But this is what makes it really quirky and makes it different. And I just love being in the tower. I just want to be here all the time. It's just so nice and great having people coming down, and we're having a talk with them and all that sort of thing. And it's just a great place because we've also got all the grounds outside. So in the summer, people are sitting outside, they're having their teas and coffees out there. It's really nice, and we're getting all that finished off as well. So we've got some big plans for this going forward.
Yeah, I noticed in the dry moat outside you've got tables and chairs set out, and I imagine at the height of summer that is very much a sun trap and a beautiful place to enjoy an afternoon tea.
Yeah, well, the great thing about it is, one, you're only 100 yards from the sea. So, if you're coming to Clacton for the day, what a great day. You can go to the pier, which happens to be the largest pleasure pier in Europe, 6.5 acres. And just by the way, their address, which I think is fantastic, number 1 North Sea. And, so they're only across the road. So when people come here, they can go and do the pier, and then they can pop in here and see all this, learn about the tower, have some nice teas, meet some friends or whatever. And, it's just it's another great thing for Clacton, do you know what I mean? But outside, it's really beautiful. And the reason being is that even if it's windy, because you're down and you've got the moat around you, it shelters you from if it's a windy day, do you know what I mean? And the sun follows it all the way around. So all day long we've got sun. So it's really nice. And another great thing is that Clacton has got a microclimate. There's no doubt about that. They always get the weather forecast wrong because it's got this little St Joseph's driest part of the UK, and it might pour down and rain in Colchester, but Clacton's sunny Clacton.
It certainly is. Now, your plans for perhaps putting some sort of dome on top, I mean, that would be very striking on top of this building and give you panoramic views of Clacton. We're down in the sort of basement of the tower at the moment, but I mean, what are those views like from the top?
Oh, they're absolutely fantastic. For the air show, there's nowhere better, I don't think. And because we're right in front of where all the main flights go across right here, and we're up really high on the top of the tower. So, and the views are really nice. You can see right up to Jaywick and right up to Holland-on-Sea. It's a fantastic place to be. I love being on the rooftop, but at the moment, like I say, it's all it is a big pigeon coop at the moment. That's all it is. So once we get that down, and if anyone wants to have a look, if you go on Google and type in Martello Tower Y and then click in the images, that's sort of the same thing we're doing because they've already done it there, and we're sort of copying that sort of structure. I mean, that's going to change the look of the tower, but open it up as well so that you can do so much more with it. That's right, because at the moment it's just, and plus if it's raining and that, you wouldn't be able to use it and that sort of thing. And also, them actual the dome that they've got actually protects it as well, from water coming in and that sort of thing. So it's got a lot of benefits, you know what I'm saying? And it looks nice, and it's a lot better than what it looks at the moment. There is still, despite modifications and changes and developments, which all historic buildings have over time, there's still a lot of the originality that's here. And I noticed reading the Historic England listing, because it's been a listed building for decades now, there's still a lot of originality. And actually the footbridge that you walk across the moat is original, isn't it? Yeah, it sure is. And it actually used to lift up, the front of it used to lift up and close, so you really was protected here. But I mean, I must say, English Heritage have always been great towards us because they know, I think, how much we care for the building and what we're doing. And Tennering Council have worked with us on it, on everything, and been really good. So, I think we've had a lot of support from them, and it's and from the community. It's all good.
Well, it is an interesting, I would say unique, but there are others along the coast. But they've all got individuality to them and their own sort of life, I suppose. Now after their original purpose. Yeah, well, this one is unique because of that moat. It's a fully enclosed moat, like I say, so you don't see many of them about. I think this is the only one, but there might be another. I'm not sure, 100%. But yeah, it's individual. They're beautiful buildings. It's great to come and learn about them. I want some of the schools to come and let the kids learn. That's why we've got up on the top. I don't know if you see it, but we've got some of the original floorboards up there above the fireplace, and we've got like some information about why they were built and all that sort of thing that people can read. And it'd be great for like the schools and kids come here and find out about these Martello Towers. You know what I'm saying? Because they're great. You can spend hours here. They're fantastic. Once we've got the top done, it'd be really great. But the gardens are lovely. We're improving them all the time. So yeah, it's exciting. Very exciting. Absolutely. Well, Paul, thank you so much for inviting me down to the tower and being a supporter of Essex by the Sea as well. I wish you all the best with the future endeavours for it, and maybe, you know, if you need someone to come and cut the ribbon when the dome's installed, you know where to find me.
That's it. No, thanks a lot, Owen. It's been really good. Thanks for your time as well.
Well, now we've visited Tower F, it feels like we need to go and visit the other 5 towers now. Perhaps they will be explored in future episodes. If you'd like to support the making of Essex by the Sea, then do check out my Ko-fi page, where you can find all the episodes and as pictures, and you can also leave a little donation as well. That goes a long way to covering the costs of making the podcast, and if you plan to do that, thank you very much in advance. So from this particular Martello Tower here in Clacton, thanks ever so much for listening.